Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we sift through the information overload to bring you the profound insights that truly matter. Today, we're unraveling a very particular kind of pressure, one that subtly, often silently, shapes how many of us navigate our increasingly interconnected world. It's the pervasive, unvoiced belief that to truly belong, to be effective in our roles, or to even just be taken seriously, we absolutely must speak perfect English. You might recognize that feeling, that little hesitation before you open your mouth.
Oh, absolutely. And this is precisely the kind of deeply ingrained cultural expectation we really need to examine. It stretches far beyond mere language proficiency. It touches on perceived competence, credibility, even identity. For anyone bridging cultures, whether you're in a multinational corporation, an academic setting, or maybe just trying to form genuine connections with people from diverse linguistic backgrounds, well, this pressure can feel like a formidable barrier. It sets an incredibly high, often unattainable bar that can lead to, frankly, immense self-doubt and hesitation.
Right. So our mission today is to challenge that deeply rooted myth. We're not just scratching the surface here. We're diving into a perspective that radically redefines what truly constitutes effective communication. We're asking, is flawless language genuinely a prerequisite for connection, for success, or for making a meaningful impact? Our sources today suggest something, well, profoundly different.
Exactly. This deep dive is really going to illuminate how the courage to speak imperfectly, to willingly embrace the vulnerability inherent in our communication, is in fact the most potent catalyst for deep understanding and for building authentic trust. It requires us to consciously shift our focus away from an almost obsessive pursuit of linguistic perfection and towards the cultivation of genuine human connection.
And guiding us through this paradigm shift are the profound insights from Lóng Tíng's powerful work, The Courage of Imperfect Language, Be Human, Dare to Speak. Lóng Tíng, in his unique role as a culture ambassador, masterfully bridges East and West. He walks between ancient and emerging worlds, his understanding rooted deeply in East Asian thought. Yet his presence is fully resonant with the demands and dynamics of our global now. He builds bridges not just between places, but between tradition and modernity, much like, as he puts it, a quiet bamboo path leading toward a serene mountain temple. His vantage point offers an extraordinary, deeply insightful lens on these dynamics.
It really does. His work offers such a unique synthesis. It shows how an understanding of East Asian philosophical tenets, things like the emphasis on harmony, the importance of context, maybe a more collective approach to identity over purely individualistic expression, how all that profoundly informs his perspective on communication. And it's not about rigid rules, right? It's about understanding the deeper currents of human interaction. It's about moving beyond the superficial metrics of language use to grasp the underlying human desire to connect. It offers a thoughtful and profoundly human approach to overcoming these linguistic anxieties we all feel sometimes.
So, our mission for you, our listener, is to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge from this material. We aim to help you understand why embracing linguistic imperfection can transform from, well, what feels like a weakness into an incredibly powerful asset. And here's maybe an initial aha moment to plant a seed in your mind as we start. What we often casually dismiss and perhaps even feel self-conscious about as broken English is, in fact, not broken at all. It's vibrant, it's alive, it's deeply human. And perhaps, surprisingly, it might just be the most effective, most authentic way to build genuine bridges across cultures and communities.
That's a perfect place to start digging deeper.
Okay, let's truly unpack this first part then. The silent walls. Deconstructing the myth of perfect English. Lóng Tíng opens his work with a powerful, really personal anecdote that instantly reveals the core of this immense pressure. He recounts being told time and again in his role as a culture ambassador that he must speak excellent English, and I'm quoting him directly here. As a culture ambassador, I am often told, you must speak excellent English, otherwise how could you bridge East and West? And every time I smile, because no, I do not. I do not need perfect English. I only need courage. Courage to be understood. Courage to connect. Wow, that's a striking opening, isn't it?
It is, definitely, because it immediately confronts this pervasive cultural expectation. The belief that perfect English is essential for leadership, for influence, for any form of cross-cultural engagement. It's not just confined to cultural ambassadorship, like you said. It permeates almost every facet of our globalized lives. You see it in business boardrooms, academic conferences, even just casual social interactions. This deeply ingrained societal belief creates an implied, often unspoken, mandate for linguistic flawlessness, especially maybe for non-native speakers. It sets an incredibly high and, frankly, frequently unattainable bar. And the subtle implication is that any linguistic deviation, A unique accent, a grammatical slip, maybe a moment of searching for the right word, isn't just a minor error. It feels like a mark against one's overall competence or credibility, or even intelligence sometimes. And this isn't merely an external judgment. It's something so many of us internalize consciously or unconsciously.
That's so true. It's like we've collectively, maybe without even realizing it, agreed upon this single gold standard for language, and anything falling short is automatically deemed less than. Okay. And here's where it truly gets interesting, because this external pressure isn't the only challenge, right? This myth of perfect English fosters a very specific, often insidious, internal monologue. Lóng Tíng describes these internal whispers with startling clarity. He writes, "If you cannot speak without mistakes, you should remain silent. If your accent betrays you, you should stay small. If you don't know every word, you don't belong."
Gosh, this isn't just external criticism. It's a powerful, self-imposed form of censorship, isn't it? It's that voice in our own head telling us to hold back even before we've uttered a single word.
Absolutely. And that analysis of the internal impact is critically important. The myth of perfect English doesn't just present an external hurdle. It cultivates an internal critic that leads to profound self-censorship. This fear of inadequacy manifests even before a single word is spoken. It constructs a psychological barrier to communication, one that's far more formidable, really, than any grammatical error. Think about it. The anxiety of potentially making a mistake, of being judged for an accent, or of not knowing the exact right phrase. It can paralyze people. Their thoughts, their insights, their unique perspectives just remain trapped. And the consequences are truly dire. Lóng Tíng observes this firsthand. He says, "I have seen it too often. Bright people holding back because they believe they were not ready. Their voices waiting, their gifts unseen." This isn't merely about lost words. It's about the suppression of human potential. It's the stifling of innovation and the failure to forge genuine interpersonal exchange. Imagine the brilliant ideas that never see the light of day, the crucial connections that are never made, the collaborative breakthroughs that never happen, all because individuals are too afraid to share their authentic thoughts and perspectives. It's a significant societal cost, and a personal cost, too, paid in silence.
Wow. So when you're preparing for that important meeting, maybe stepping onto a virtual global stage, or even just engaging in a casual but, meaningful conversation, consider this. The biggest obstacle you face might not be your vocabulary or your grammar or even your accent. It might actually be that internal whisper telling you to hold back, to wait until you're somehow perfect.
This deep dive really encourages you, the listener, to recognize the profound hidden cost of that silence, a silence born from this very fear. It's about understanding what you and the world lose when you don't dare to speak.
That sets the stage perfectly for the next part, the alternative path. Right, the honest bridge. Embracing imperfection for authentic connection. It's remarkably counterintuitive, isn't it? Because in so many contexts, we're taught to strive for polish, to meticulously check our grammar, to eliminate every perceived flaw. Yet, Lóng Tíng's work suggests that this relentless pursuit of linguistic perfection isn't what truly builds meaningful relationships. In fact, it might ironically create distance. He makes a truly profound statement. Perfection impresses, but it rarely connects. He argues that what genuinely matters, what opens pathways between people, is simply being understood. Even if the words are clumsy, even if the grammar bends a bit, or if the accent is strong, he draws this powerful contrast saying, a polished sentence may shine for a moment, an honest sentence can open a lifetime of trust.
And that compels us to ask a fundamental question, doesn't it? What are we truly optimizing for when we communicate? Is it flawlessness, or is it impact and genuine human connection? The source compellingly argues for impact through authenticity, highlighting a critical paradox. Perfection, while maybe impressive in its technical execution, can often inadvertently create a subtle barrier. A flawless presentation, while you might admire it for its linguistic prowess, can sometimes feel sterile, almost unapproachable. It might signal a focus on external validation rather than an authentic desire to connect. And this can make the perfect speaker seem distant, perhaps even intimidating. It can subconsciously raise defenses in the listener who might then feel less adequate or maybe less willing to engage in a truly open, reciprocal exchange.
That makes sense. So the polish can actually push people away sometimes.
Exactly. Conversely, an honest sentence, even if it struggles for expression, implicitly invites engagement. It signals vulnerability, a willingness to put oneself out there without pretense. It's an act of courage that lowers the speaker's defenses, and in doing so, often encourages the listener to lower theirs as well. When someone is genuinely trying to communicate, making an effort, and perhaps even, laughing at their own minor stumbles, it bypasses that critical analytical part of our brains. Instead, it taps into our inherent human capacity for empathy and understanding. This dynamic interaction fosters a much deeper, more robust, and ultimately more sustainable connection than mere linguistic polish ever could. It's about building a bridge from heart to heart, not just mind to mind.
That distinction is incredibly powerful. It really forces you to reconsider what you're actually trying to achieve when you speak, especially in those high-stakes environments. And this leads directly to a crucial reframing of how we label language that isn't perfectly fluent. Lóng Tíng directly confronts and challenges the very term broken English, he says, with this quiet firmness. But it is not broken. It is alive. It is human. And that's not just semantics, is it? It's a fundamental shift in perception.
Absolutely.
Think for a moment, just for yourself listening. Recall a time when someone you were speaking with struggled to find the right words. Perhaps they mixed up languages, or maybe they paused, collected themselves, and then laughed good-naturedly at their own mistake. In that specific moment, didn't you feel a surge of something, I don't know, like closeness? A heightened sense of humanity with them? Didn't you instinctively lean in, wanting to understand and help them express themselves, maybe offering a word or a nod of encouragement?
That feeling is key. This perspective is absolutely crucial because it fundamentally reframes what might traditionally be perceived as a deficit linguistic imperfection into a profound asset for connection. The act of struggling with words, of being imperfect, makes us profoundly more relatable. The human brain, in its essence, is wired for empathy. We know this. And vulnerability, whether it's intentional or accidental, is one of the most powerful triggers for that empathetic response. When someone shows their human side, their effort, their genuine desire to communicate despite linguistic challenges, it doesn't just convey information. It conveys character, determination, authenticity. It bypasses the purely analytical, critical part of our brains and taps directly into our emotional capacity for understanding and connection. This isn't just about being nice or forgiving mistakes. It's a fundamental human hardwiring. When you are vulnerable, you implicitly invite the other person to be vulnerable back, creating a shared space of authenticity. It's like opening a door and saying, it's safe here. We can be ourselves. This is such a powerful testament to the idea that communication is far more than just the accurate transmission of data. It's a shared, deeply human experience where shared effort and understanding forge stronger bonds.
And this leads us directly to the very core insight that Lóng Tíng reveals, an insight that really transcends language itself. Imperfection reveals vulnerability, and vulnerability is the root of trust. Wow. This isn't just a poetic statement about language, is it? It delves deep into the fundamental psychological underpinnings of all human interaction.
Precisely. That statement captures a fundamental principle of deep human connection. It applies universally across any context, personal, professional, cross-cultural, you name it. When we expose our imperfections, when we let down our guard and reveal a struggle, we are essentially signaling a lack of pretense. We are saying implicitly, I am human just like you. This act of vulnerability lowers our own defenses, and in doing so, it creates an implicit invitation for others to lower theirs as well. This reciprocal lowering of defenses creates a psychological safe space, an environment where mutual understanding and, crucially, trust can truly flourish.
So it actually creates safety rather than risk.
In a way, yes. Consider the psychological impact. If someone presents themselves as absolutely flawless, meticulously polished, it can inadvertently create that barrier we talked about. It might make others feel less adequate, less authentic, or even less willing to engage genuinely, fearing their own imperfections will be judged against such a high standard. But when someone is open about their struggles, when they admit a mistake or laugh at a linguistic stumble, it makes them relatable, approachable, and profoundly human. This allows for a much deeper and more resilient bond to form, built on shared humanity rather than superficial perfection. This principle is vital not only for effective leadership and team building, as we'll see, but for any interaction where the goal is to forge meaningful, lasting relationships. It's the bedrock of genuine connection.
Okay, so that's the theory, the why. But Lóng Tíng doesn't just theorize about these powerful ideas, does he? He brings them vividly to life with incredibly relatable examples drawn from his own experiences and those of others around the world. These stories are truly where the rubber meets the road, showing us the profound power of imperfect language in action, showing us that these aren't just abstract concepts, but living, breathing truths.
Yes, These anecdotes serve as powerful, almost empirical evidence. They demonstrate that this isn't an isolated phenomenon or just a hopeful ideal, but a universal pattern observed repeatedly across diverse cultural and professional settings. They provide concrete, human-centered examples that transcend the theoretical discussions. They ground the concept of courageous, imperfect communication in real-world successes and deeper, more authentic human connection. They highlight that consistent thread of human response to vulnerability again and again.
Okay, let's delve into some of these powerful stories then. He recounts a truly memorable moment during a high-stakes business negotiation. You can just picture the room, tension is palpable, critical decisions are on the line, and suddenly a participant repeatedly says kitchen when he clearly means chicken. It's a classic slip-up. What was the immediate reaction, and what did it reveal?
Right. This anecdote perfectly illustrates how a moment of perceived linguistic failure can be transformed into a profound moment of connection. The initial reaction, as you might expect, was laughter in the room. But what's remarkable, as Lóng Tíng describes it, is that this wasn't laughter of mockery. It was more like a kind of empathetic, tension-melting laughter. This immediate shared human reaction just broke the ice. It shifted the entire dynamic from one that was formal and potentially adversarial to one that became genuinely human and collaborative. People, instead of becoming dismissive, actually leaned in. They listened more carefully. Not just to the exact words being used, but to the speaker's intent, to the person behind the momentary slip. They encouraged him, understanding that the core message and the collaborative spirit were far more important than a single misspoken word. The outcome, as Lóng Tíng notes with, I imagine, a gentle smile, was that nobody cared about the word, we cared about the person. This isn't an isolated incident. It's a powerful testament that even in critical professional settings, authentic human connection and clear intent can effortlessly override minor linguistic errors and ultimately lead to successful outcomes built on empathy and mutual understanding. It shows that sometimes the mistake is the very thing that opens the door.
That's a brilliant illustration, isn't it? It really shows how a small mistake can humanize an interaction and open doors rather than close them. Lóng Tíng also shares the story of a passionate Vietnamese student. Her English, by conventional standards, was hesitant, maybe with many grammatical errors in her sentences, yet she made an indelible impression. How?
This anecdote powerfully highlights the incredible efficacy of intrinsic motivation and genuine passion. How they transcend any perceived deficiencies in linguistic delivery. Lóng Tíng describes her with such vivid imagery, noting that her eyes burned with passion, her dream was whole even if her words were broken. This conveys without a doubt that her sincerity, the sheer force of her conviction, and the clarity of her vision easily overshadowed any grammatical or lexical imperfections. And the crucial takeaway here is the reciprocal effect her courage engendered. And because she dared to speak, we dared to listen. Her willingness to express herself, despite the struggle, compelled her audience to engage more deeply. They looked beyond the surface-level presentation and truly heard the substance of her message, recognizing the heart behind the words. It demonstrates unequivocally that genuine enthusiasm and a clear, heartfelt purpose are profoundly powerful tools for capturing attention, conveying meaning, and inspiring others, far more so than perfect articulation.
Then there's the incredibly practical perspective of a Nigerian entrepreneur who shared this with Lóng Tíng. My English carries an accent and sometimes mistakes, but my partners care about my ideas, not my grammar. Business flows because trust flows. This directly connects imperfect language to tangible success, doesn't it?
It really does. This anecdote offers a direct, real-world connection between embracing imperfect language and achieving practical success in the often demanding realm of international business. It underscores a vital truth. In professional relationships, the true value proposition lies in the substance of one's ideas, the ingenuity of solutions, the reliability of character, the strength of vision, rather than in some idealized linguistic precision. The entrepreneur's statement, "Business flows because trust flows," perfectly encapsulates this. It tells us that when business partners perceive genuine intent, demonstrated competence in their field, and unwavering honesty, linguistic imperfections become secondary, almost irrelevant. Trust, which is meticulously built on these foundational elements of character and capability, becomes the essential lubricant for successful transactions, enduring partnerships, and mutual growth. It's a powerful testament that authenticity and substance, not mere polish, drive economic as well as interpersonal success.
There are so many great examples. Let's touch on a few more. The Italian professor at a conference apologizing for his poor English.
Ah, yes, that one addresses academic or professional anxieties directly. He apologized, probably feeling that pressure we discussed. But the audience reaction was telling. Ting reports the audience laughed kindly and leaned in closer. Why? Because, as the professor realized, my message mattered more than my mistakes. Again, it shows that content, intent, and the courage to share overcome concerns about linguistic polish, even in supposedly critical environments like academic conferences.
And the young Chinese professional who feared speaking up in meetings.
That focuses on workplace integration. The fear is real for so many. But her experience was that every time I tried, colleagues encouraged me. The conclusion she drew: courage built the connection, not vocabulary. It highlights the importance of supportive environments, yes, but also that taking the first step, the courageous act, is what initiates that positive cycle.
There's also a German consultant working globally.
Right, acknowledging that in global calls, my sentences are sometimes heavy with German structure. We all know that feeling of our native language patterns influencing another. But the outcome? Yet the clients smile. They know I am here to listen and to build solutions. It shows that clients, ultimately, prioritize problem-solving, collaboration, and genuine intent over grammatical precision native to English. They recognize the effort and the value brought.
And the Brazilian social worker using gestures and laughter.
That one illustrates practical, hands-on collaboration beautifully. With international volunteers, my English is far from perfect. But we laugh, we point, we gesture, and together we make the work happen. It shows how shared goals and simple resourcefulness, fueled by goodwill, can absolutely trump linguistic perfection when there's real work to be done together. Communication finds a way.
Okay, let's look at two more that really drive the point home. The Egyptian teacher whose students corrected him.
Yes, this is such a poignant example, showing the reciprocal nature of vulnerability in learning. It could have been a moment of shame, right? Being corrected by your students. But instead, he felt pride. Why? Because they dared to speak too. Imperfection became our shared bridge. His openness created safety for them. It turned a potential moment of embarrassment into a shared victory, a powerful learning moment for everyone, built on mutual respect and the acceptance of imperfection.
And finally, that resonant voice from an immigrant in the United States.
Yes, the one who said, "I live in America, but English is not my first language. Every mistake reminds me that I belong to two worlds at once, and that is my strength." This is just such a profound reframing. It moves beyond simply accepting mistakes. It turns them into markers of a rich bicultural identity, a unique strength, not a deficiency. It challenges the idea that you have to shed one identity to fit into another. Instead, it celebrates the ability to navigate multiple worlds, recognizing that this interplay, even with its mistakes, offers unique insights and resilience. It's empowering.
So if we step back from all these individual stories, from Vietnam, Nigeria, Italy, China, Germany, Brazil, Egypt, the US, the common thread here isn't just about disparate anecdotes. It's about a universal insight shining through across all these cultures, contexts, and experiences. Lóng Tíng powerfully concludes, the bridge is not built by grammar. It is built by intention, respect, and courage.
Exactly. This universal pattern undeniably reveals a deeper, more profound truth about human interaction. It fundamentally shifts our understanding of what truly constitutes effective and meaningful communication. The foundational elements of connection, that genuine intention to understand and be understood, mutual respect for diverse backgrounds, and the sheer courage to engage despite linguistic fears. These qualities transcend mere linguistic rules. They are the truly human attributes that forge bonds and facilitate understanding across any perceived divide. They remind us that our shared humanity, with all its beautiful complexities and imperfections, is the ultimate and most powerful language we possess. It's, the language of the heart, understood by all.
Which brings us to the final section, the call to speak. Courage over correctness. Despite all these powerful examples, these profound insights into human connection, Lóng Tíng reminds us that, well, many still hesitate. He revisits the persistent problem, and yet so many still remain silent. This silence, he observes with, I think, a quiet sadness, is born from that potent, paralyzing cocktail of fear. Fear of mistakes, fear of ridicule, fear of being judged, and the consequence, he states starkly, is devastating. But silence builds walls, while speaking even imperfectly builds bridges.
That underscores, with immense clarity, the profound and ongoing cost of that initial fear we discussed earlier. It highlights the vital personal choice each individual faces every single day, really. Do you succumb to the fear and inadvertently erect barriers of silence, isolating yourself and stifling your potential contributions? Or do you consciously embrace the courage to speak, thereby actively constructing pathways for connection and understanding? The powerful metaphor of walls versus bridges just articulates the stark dichotomy of these two paths. and it emphasizes the significant impact they have, not just on personal growth and professional opportunities, but on the very fabric of global collaboration and human interaction. It's a choice that defines whether we remain disconnected or become agents of connection.
This realization then naturally leads to that crucial shift in perspective we touched on earlier, a reframing of the very question we ought to ask ourselves about our communication. Lóng Tíng proposes this insightful reevaluation. The question is not, is my English correct? The question is, did my words reach you? Rack. That's a truly powerful reframing, isn't it? It completely shifts the focus from internal self-consciousness and rigid adherence to linguistic rules to the genuine outcome and tangible impact of our message on others.
Precisely. This perspective encourages a pragmatic, human-centered approach to communication. It emphasizes the ultimate outcome and effectiveness over mere linguistic perfection. When we prioritize whether our message was truly received and understood, we inherently become more attuned to our audience. We become more adaptive in our delivery and more open to clarifying our intent through various means, not just perfect words. This fundamental shift liberates us from the paralyzing fear of error and instead empowers us to prioritize meaningful exchange. It recognizes that the true goal of communication isn't to demonstrate our linguistic prowess. It's to foster mutual understanding, to share an idea, to build a relationship, to make an impact. It's about genuine connection, not performance.
And this reframing of the question directly leads to a redefinition of courage itself, offering a liberating perspective. Lóng Tíng offers this powerful insight. Courage is not the absence of mistakes. Courage is the decision to speak anyway. That is incredibly empowering because it fundamentally transforms our perceived weaknesses into powerful demonstrations of our commitment to connect. He expands on this, saying, "Every mispronounced word is a trace of bravery. Every awkward phrase is a mark of authenticity. Every laugh at ourselves is an opening to deeper trust."
Yes, this redefinition of courage is not only liberating but also profoundly empowering. It takes what we might traditionally perceive as weaknesses, our linguistic mistakes, our awkward phrasing, and transforms them into tangible demonstrations of one's commitment to connect and to share. By embracing these imperfections as traces of bravery and marks of authenticity, individuals can fundamentally shift their self-perception. They move from seeing themselves as flawed communicators to courageous connectors.
That's a great distinction, courageous connectors.
Exactly. Consider the dynamic. When we dare to speak imperfectly, we reveal our humanity. And when we can laugh at ourselves over a mispronunciation, rather than shrinking in embarrassment, that shared laughter becomes an opening to deeper trust. It's an authentic moment where human connection unequivocally overrides linguistic precision. This fosters an environment where genuine interaction is valued above all else, actively breaking down the very barriers that an unattainable perfectionism often erects. It's an invitation for others to connect with the real you, not just the polished facade.
And this approach has truly significant implications, especially for those in leadership roles or, aspiring to them. Lóng Tíng points out a crucial truth. To lead across cultures is not to wait until every sentence is flawless. It is to speak now with the voice you have.
That applies so directly to fostering more inclusive, innovative, and dynamic environments, particularly within global teams and across leadership roles. Leaders who embody and demonstrate this principle, who speak authentically, even imperfectly, they signal to their teams that genuine contribution, clear ideas, and courageous participation are prioritized over mere linguistic polish. This cultivates a culture of psychological safety, where diverse team members feel empowered and encouraged to speak up, share their unique perspectives, and contribute without that paralyzing fear of judgment or ridicule. Such an approach not only builds stronger, more cohesive and trusting teams, but it also taps into a broader, richer range of ideas and solutions. It fosters an environment where innovation can truly thrive, precisely because every voice is valued, every perspective is heard, and authenticity is celebrated as a strength.
Ultimately, Lóng Tíng synthesizes this entire deep dive into a powerful, almost poetic truth about language itself. It doesn't need to be perfect to carry meaning. It doesn't need to be polished to carry love. It doesn't need to be flawless to build bridges. He reiterates this powerful message. Every imperfect sentence is already a bridge across cultures. Every mistake is a hidden seed of connection. Every laugh shared over a mispronunciation is a small victory of humanity over division.
That truly encapsulates the ultimate strength of imperfect language. It transcends its utilitarian function as a mere tool for information exchange, and elevates it to a profound vehicle for human connection, for empathy, and for genuine cultural understanding. The idea that every mistake is a hidden seed of connection is particularly insightful, I think. It suggests that these moments of linguistic vulnerability are not failures to be hidden, but rather unexpected opportunities for deeper relational growth. They serve as powerful reminders that our shared humanity, with all its beautiful imperfections, is far more potent in uniting us than any rigid adherence to linguistic rules could ever be. It's a victory for the human spirit over the artificial divisions often created by the relentless pursuit of an unattainable perfection. So as we wrap up this deep dive, which has been so thoughtfully guided by Lóng Tíng's truly insightful work, it's really highlighted a fundamental, undeniable truth. The sheer power of human connection, the authenticity of our shared experience, far, far outweighs the perceived need for linguistic perfection. It truly reorients our understanding of what communication is really for. Indeed. We've journeyed through numerous compelling examples and thoughtful analyses, witnessing firsthand how vulnerability, clear intention, and profound courage are the true architects of understanding. These human qualities we've seen are far more effective than any grammar rule or flawless accent in weaving together individuals and cultures, creating a tapestry of connection that is both rich, resilient, and enduring.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, the next time you're about to speak? Perhaps it's in a second language you're still mastering, or maybe you're simply feeling a moment of self-consciousness about your words, regardless of the language. Lóng Tíng leaves us with a direct instruction, a powerful mantra to carry forward into every interaction. Be human, dare to speak. Do not wait for perfect words. Speak now with the courage of imperfection, because imperfect language is not a barrier. It is the bridge itself. And he leaves us with this ultimate, potent impact of his philosophy. A single imperfect word, spoken with courage, can build more bridges than 1,000 perfect words left unspoken.
Wow. That challenges each of us to fundamentally reconsider our internal metrics for communication success, doesn't it? It urges us to shift our focus from the debilitating fear of linguistic error to the profound potential of authentic engagement, to prioritize genuine human connection and the courageous act of expression above all else. It's really a call to liberation.
What an incredibly powerful thought to leave you with today. It truly makes you rethink what you're striving for in your next conversation, encouraging you to step forward confidently and authentically with the voice you have, knowing that it's more than enough.